Welcome to the Corporate Governance Program. I'm Amir Qureshi. This program is brought to you by Business Plus in association with the International Finance Corporation, the IFC. We started the series of programs by looking at the state of corporate governance in Pakistan as it is today. We spoke to some of Pakistan's leading directors and sought their opinion about the state of corporate governance and what good governance is all about. Let's go and take a look at what they had to say.
We started in March 2006 to be precise, and the first few months obviously were spent in this awareness creation and awareness raising. However, besides that, but before that, let me tell you that, in this corporate governance framework which we are seeking to improve, the board of directors is the major or the main stakeholder which can make a difference, which has a bigger responsibility in convincing a company or managing a company to adhere to good corporate governance practices. And hence there's a lot of focus on the board of directors. Now for this purpose, we have had tailor-made workshops for boards of directors of specific companies. So we've done several of them over the last year and a half. But more importantly, what we've done is we've developed a board development program. It's called the Board Development Series. And what it is a program in 4 parts, each part having 6 modules. And over a period of 1 year, a director can go through all 4 parts. And once that is accomplished, a director is accredited internationally as a chartered director. Now, what that provides to a director is an understanding of corporate governance firstly, and then how to go about implementing good governance within companies. Because like I said, that in companies, it is the board of directors whose responsibility it is to ensure that. So once they have an understanding of corporate governance and how it helps companies improve their performance, improve their shareholder value, improve their decision-making process, they are better able to implement it within companies. So that's the other thing we've done. The third thing we've done is that we are also assisting companies to assess corporate governance practices, what they are, where they stand in terms of best practices today, how does that compare to international best practices, and then suggest or propose a corporate governance improvement program.
Mr. Hussain Daud, what's your perspective on the need for good corporate governance in organizations?
I think that corporate governance is a critical issue for Pakistani enterprise. The SECP did implement a code. The code is excellent. I think it gives a lot of credibility to corporates that embrace it. I think it's very important to have corporate governance because it actually enhances the value of a corporation. Pakistani enterprises have not learned how important that is. Fortunately, we have. And we place corporate governance at the highest levels that we can. We embrace it both spiritually and technically. It's important for us, because we feel that the more credibility we're able to create through transparency, through good governance, the greater value that our enterprises will be able to enjoy.
Another key aspect of good corporate governance, I suppose, is succession planning. What's your opinion about the need to ensure that organizations are always looking ahead and planning for succession of key positions, including the chairman of the board?
But those who don't take advantage of the corporate governance do so at their own peril. Their growth curves will be severely limited. I don't think we should work ourselves into any sort of a frenzy about the private or the unlisted companies not implementing corporate governance. We should concentrate on the listed companies. Okay. And let the private company, we need to set sterling examples. When you have examples, that others follow. You might recall that Ford, announced a major decision in the early part of the last century when he said $5 an hour. Now, nobody told him to do that, but look at the impact it had on American industry and American economic development. So we need to realize that we need to develop our economy and our practices through having icons, through idolizing those icons and following them, rather than making through compulsion.
It's early years of the efforts of the Government Securities Exchange Commission to really introduce professional corporate governance. Prior to that, of course, you've had professional chartered accountants, but the regulators have, I think, come in with a significant amount of effort this time. And it's going to take time because so far the companies are not necessarily very compliant, or if they are compliant to the Securities Exchange Commission code, it's more in the letter than in the spirit.
So they're not actually embracing the spirit of these new regulations?
Yes, I think because except for the multinational companies here, the family-owned companies, the small companies, they actually have not really realized the advantages of so corporate governance. They feel that corporate governance is something which is being given to them by some theoreticians coming in from highly educated schools, and who don't know business, and since they haven't made money, they really cannot teach the entrepreneur how to improve his business.
What is the essence of corporate governance from your perspective?
Well, the essence of corporate governance is basically that the investments, whether it is from the public or whether it is from the family-owned, their returns are maximized in a transparent manner. Heretofore, what our investors have been thinking, that they think that making money by all means, regardless of whether paying taxes or is important. That is the most important thing. Now, in this multilateral world, where investments flow across borders, it is now to be understood by our entrepreneurs that unless they come up on levels which are internationally accepted, they cannot become a part of the international world. And if they cannot become a part of the international world, they cannot sell and buy, and effectively. And so, therefore, that is the essence, that if our companies start to implement corporate governance, and the family-owned businesses or private-owned businesses also realize the importance of corporate governance, then they can reach a stage where investments will start flowing into their companies, which is not happening so far.
Our governance sector, actually, it is good that this thing has come to Pakistan, because we were already following this thing. That we start with, of course, a vision and a mission statement, which are then taken to the board, and board approves that mission, as well as the objectives, for the strategic objectives for the next year. We take it to the board, and board participates in that. And as you know, our board has members who are, since they are not from PRL itself, they are either representing Shell, PSO, Chevron, or Dow Group, and even from the independent also we have people like Ardeshir Kawasi and President of National Bank of Pakistan, Ali Raza. So they are all people who are convinced that corporate governance is something which is good for the company.
Can you give me a little bit of information on the makeup of your board? Especially, I'm interested to know what role the independent directors are playing on your board.
Basically, this is their role, to see that everything which is being done is according to, it's open and it is transparent. The management is something which is not very cozy amongst themselves. So there are, the financial statements and everything is those information which is made public, which public should, make use of it in the right way, so that they really understand how the company is, what is the financial strength of the company. Of course, it started with Enron, but so that we are not capitalizing something which should be operating expenses and all those things. And in addition, of course, there is a discipline which they have to overlook, that there is no certain practices which are some favoritism or those sort of things. Automatically they are eliminated.